welcome back to the Journey to the FarLands. All right, well, let's see here. Got a boatload of stuff. Let's get out of here. Okay. Dual boats. Oh, yes, that's right. Let me close this up. Let's make sure of what direction is west. That way, because the compass is pointing behind me. And true, the compass in Minecraft does not point to north, east, west, or south. It points to original spawn. But I left original spawn a long time ago heading west based on where the sun is. And you see it's rising to the east, so we're heading the other way to the west. And I am far enough away now from spawn that all I have to do is keep the compass pointing behind me, and I'm going in the right direction. Now, this is a reference to the previous episode in which, after the first night, I managed to get myself turned around and spent a little over 1/3 of the episode walking the wrong direction. And so now I'm traveling to the west, onwards to the FarLands, in Minecraft Beta 1.7.3, covering terrain that some of which I should have covered last episode, and would have had I paid attention to direction. Yeah. It's not really all that super critical, but it's annoying to see that I've done that to myself. But no matter, we move onwards, ever to the FarLands. And on the way here, let's see, this is the morning of the 406th Minecraft day since leaving spawn, in which we're continuing onwards, raising money for Child's Play charity, an organization that provides books, toys, and games to kids in hospitals all over to make their stays in the hospital somewhat more tolerable, and so on. In any event, let's see here. Yes, as to the status of that fundraising drive, the goal is $6,346.45, and currently, to date, as of just a couple of days ago, with another $25 donation to Child's Play, we're currently at a grand total of $636.12 raised, which is 10.02% of the goal. We're getting there. How about that? And that means, doing a bit of quick back of the napkin type math, that only need another, say, 951 $6 donations, and we will have achieved that goal. And then there can be another Livestream of F3ness and a finding of a suitably epic spot upon which to press F3 and celebrate by finding out how far I have come on this journey. In any event, let's see here. Along with the donation, the mysterious donor, and I say mysterious because they did not give a name or anything like that with their donation, which is perfectly fine. They did, however, ask a question, which I will get to as soon as I relieve these sheep of their wool, which is now mine. I don't want yours. I don't want to have two different stacks. Alright. I don't know where the rest of them are. There's always 4 at a time. But they elected to include a question with their donation, and that question is, while taking the journey to the FarLands, how often do you come across a landscape that makes you want to stop and build something there just to have it? I've found that when I'm traveling in my single-player world, that it's an impossible temptation to resist. I must say that that can be a very difficult temptation to resist, especially traveling through the beta 1.7.3 terrain. There is a lot of it that is extremely epic, and frequently I have found places that fairly scream to have something built there. Definitely need to be cutting wood today too. So yeah, that happens a lot. And it's mostly about the fact that this particular series is not about the building so much as it is the journey. But there's been a lot of times I have come across places that under other circumstances I would want to build something there. Yes. That has happened a lot, actually. And mostly what I end up doing is I take a screenshot and continue on. And more often than not, those screenshots of that particular variety end up being thumbnail images for episodes. So the places in question are not completely and totally forgotten, because generally speaking, well, actually always, the thumbnail image for an episode is in some way scenery that was seen during that episode. It's either a screenshot that I deliberately stopped and took, or when editing the video I could spot a particularly nice bit of scenery and copy that individual frame out into a image to use for the thumbnail. So yeah, the epic scenery is, well, epic. And there's a lot of it in this version. Minecraft never ceases to amaze in terms of the terrain it generates and the places that just, like I said, they fairly scream, build something here. This place is awesome. You have to build something here. You know, yes, that happens a lot. And today what's happening a lot is boats and water travel, which is fine, because water travel is faster, and that might help make up for some of the wrong direction travel from the last episode. That sort of thing happens once in a while, and that's not the first time I've done it in this series, but here's hoping that it's a long time before I manage to do that again. Okay, this is not going to bob and weave around quite like I had hoped it would. Get out of the way, cow. Jeez. Some critters. Oh, look, a useless sheep. Oh, right, well. Yeah, I've reached I've reached a time for a bed is what I've reached. But I also recently reached a another sort of milestone. You may recall that I've been doing some exploring and journeying to very far lands in another game, in Elite Dangerous. And just recently, that journey has reached the point where I have, since the 22nd of June, when this current trip began, I have traveled to 902 star systems since then. So, getting along there a little bit. Oh good, more sheep. And they're all the right kind. How about that? Gimme. Alright. Make sure I'm going the right way. Go just a teensy bit paranoid about that. Yes, there we go. I ought to stop and cut some trees. I did note that I was low on wood. There we go. And this one. And this one, I think. That's pretty good. Now, just keep an eye out for some more sheep, and we'll be in business in terms of supplies. And mushroom, get out of there. I don't want you. All right. Well, let's see. Oh, there was another thing that I meant to do or mention, because I had started incorporating the my weight loss effort numbers and whatnot into the per episode reports, like the size of the world report at 4,875.9 megabytes at the beginning of the episode, and so on, is the weight loss information. My morning weigh-in today was, well, somewhat less than encouraging at 297.2. Not encouraging at all, because just a few days ago I was at 293. Yeah. Extremely not thrilling. And calories for yesterday, 1,895. And considering that according to BMR calculations, a little over 2,400 calories is what is needed to maintain my current weight, and my goal is to be roughly 500 calories below that every day. And for the most part, I have been managing that. Although, I'm beginning to think that I need to treat the situation as if I was stuck on a plateau Although it's hard to call this a plateau, because a plateau is where your weight loss just kind of flattens out and stops going anywhere. And mine hasn't really gone very far at all. You know, when I started this thing on the 1st of October, I was clocking in at 305. And from the look of recent weigh-ins, I'm on my way back to that. And this is not encouraging. This is not a bit of extreme positivity. Oh, I'll find a way to get around it or whatever, but like I said, it's not encouraging. Sufficiently so that I've been thinking about trying to change up the dietary thing, what I'm eating, and try once again to go back to doing something that I did before a long time ago that was actually quite successful, and not only that, it was quite tasty. It was very good. And that is to switch out to an Atkins diet kind of plan. And this is, I believe the technical term for this is ketogenic. The idea being to convince the body to start burning fat as its main fuel, as opposed to running on various and sundry sugars getting processed into glucose. I mean, yes, you need a certain amount of that, because for one thing, the brain is primarily fueled by glucose. Fine, great. But the trick is to control how much of that lighting glitch. To control how much that carbohydrates, and carbohydrates basically being things that the body will process into sugar. And glucose is a form of sugar. And like I said, did this once before, years back when my wife wanted to lose weight, needed to actually, and I went on the diet with her as a supportive thing, because I didn't really feel like I needed to lose all that much. I felt comfortable and good and whatnot. Although, to be honest, I was approaching 300 back then, all those years ago. So I went on the thing with her, and it surprised me, because I expected a life of rabbit food. You know, because this is the kind of thing that you picture when somebody says diet. You think days and weeks and months and so on of very small portions of very unappealing dishes that leave you hungry. And so on. And what surprised me about this Atkins diet plan was that the food was actually quite tasty and quite satisfying. And I enjoyed it. It was good. Between that and spending time using the treadmill and an exercise bike, I started peeling off the weight pretty quickly. And it really, really annoyed her, because I was peeling off the weight quicker than she was. But what can I say? Everybody's metabolism is different. And what with treadmill and exercise bike activity, I think my metabolism became sufficiently jacked up as to burn quite a bit. And that's the big thing about weight loss. One of the things about it is get the metabolism in gear. Start burning those calories a little faster. And even there, it's not necessarily about how much you burn during the exercise, so much as it is about getting the body's metabolism running faster. Because if the body's metabolism is running faster, then you are burning calories quicker, more consistently, more of the time. Okay. Direction, west. Because the sun rises over there. Not gonna fool me like that again, Minecraft. Anyway, so yeah, that was pretty good. The only downside is that this kind of diet requires a whole bunch of fresh vegetables, fresh meats, and as we all know, those things cost a whole lot more than a loaf of bread and a pound of bologna, which is, for the last 2 or 3 years, going to the store, loaves of bread and pounds of bologna, and frozen dinners, frozen entrees or meals or whatever. You know, I think of them as TV dinners because back in the day, that's what they were called. But, you know, that sort of thing. That's the sort of thing that I typically get at the store. Because it's the sort of thing that if I keep my buying to that, I can actually afford to eat all month. You start buying things like fresh vegetables and meats, your grocery bill will go up. In fact, somebody once suggested that that was a good way to lose weight, by running your grocery bill up high enough that you couldn't afford to eat very much or very often. I suppose there's a sort of cruel logic in that, but and not that I want to be eating every minute of the day, nor do I actually literally want to eat everything in sight. Although there have been times when I did want to eat everything in sight, and a few things that weren't in sight, and so on. But, yeah, that was a long time ago. Ninja water. Oh boy. Alright, gotta fix that. That's better. Alright. Yeah, so, and this is one of the reasons I've been looking around and just kind of keeping an eye out for, ooh, not you, keeping an eye out for the possibility of coming up with a treadmill or a better exercise bike than the one I have. And speaking of which, one of these days I'm going to have to show that exercise bike so that you know what I'm talking about. Oh, come on. The boat appeared on the water directly above me. Not what I had in mind. Anyway, sometime I'm going to have to show that exercise bike so that you can realize what it is I'm talking about when I say it is somewhat less than good to be using. It is somewhat less than helpful. And, well, frankly, it's counterproductive to try to use it, which is why I hardly ever bother anymore. I will probably start trying to use it again anyway, because if nothing else, it is something, even if it is terrible. Because of what I was saying about increasing the metabolism, get the body accustomed to burning calories a little faster. And in doing that, and doing this, I'm going to walk off a cliff. Ugh. Well, if nothing else, I do know a way down involving the water bucket. All I need to do is place the water, let it flow, pick it up, and jump into it. Beautiful. And now, take care of these guys. All right. Give. All right. Very good. Making some forward progress. Getting the wool built back up. Almost a stack of it now. So I can probably go ahead and put this away. Maybe grab another tree or two, and we're good for supplies. Supplies! Oh, that is terrible. Can't believe I did that. I once swore I was never going to do that because it was so cheesy sounding, and then I just did it anyway. Oh well, everybody has their cheesy moments. You ever notice how many times you refer to things in terms of food? It just now occurred to me when I said cheesy. You know, this or that is cheesy, which means, I don't know, it's some kind of cheap or cheaty or something like that, which sounds almost kind of like an insult to cheese, because cheese is awesome, especially a good sharp cheddar or mozzarella. Mozzarella, of course, because that is frequently used, commonly used on pizza, and pizza is always awesome, and almost anything associated with pizza is awesome. Yeah. See how easy it is to get off on a food tangent. Oh, well. Anyway, my search for treadmill/exercise bike has proven to be kind of on the difficult side, because these things are designed to carry a particular weight range. They're built specifically, like, for example, the most common, less expensive varieties of these things, the ones that most people get, are they're made to hold about 200 pounds, which means if you weigh much more than that, then you're putting a load on it that it was not designed to carry, and accelerating the pace at which it reaches the point where it will need replacement and or repair. You know, that sort of thing. And so, given what my weight is currently, and what I need is a machine that is designed with the intention of being able to comfortably be used by a person who weighs somewhere approaching 300 pounds. Because the last thing I want after having gotten something like that is having to either repair it or replace it because I was too much for it. You know? And this is part of why I'm not really all that super interested in looking at second-hand machines, because, well, there is the question of, okay, what is this particular machine rated for? You know, like, anybody's going to still have the manual after having this thing for X number of years. Not very likely. You know, I don't expect that. And I would honestly consider it silly to expect it, because I won't keep a manual for something like that long. Get some light in here. Get some more light in here. And another factor with secondhand equipment is, what kind of condition is it in? You know, how badly has it been abused? Because you know it's going to be abused, overused, wrongly used, and so on. And so the idea there is this thing going to survive more than a few minutes after I get it home? You know, and so on. So, yeah, the hunt continues. All right, beds and boats. I had to be careful doing that, or I end up making a bunch of slabs that I don't need. Alright, go ahead and get the workbench back, and that's going to be a wrap. Alright, well, I say thank you for your donations to Child's Play charity, and thank you for listening to my assorted and various and sundry miscellaneous ramblings about random things and other things that aren't quite so random and so on. Anyway, be sure to stop by TinFoilChef.com, donate to Child's Play charity, and thanks for watching. Take it easy. I am out of here.